O God in Heaven, The Wretched Diary of Mary Chesnut, Part 13, January 14th, 1861. For dinner this evening, Mattie made what is, I can state as fact, the single most delicious thing I have ever tasted in my life. 'Twas a savory pie, with a hot, delicate, buttery crust, layered and baked into a most exquisite texture. Simple and elegant, yet unassuming on the outside, my fork audibly cracked through its delicate brown oven-kissed surface to release a rush of steam, fragrant of chicken and thyme. The golden cream magma, once exposed, swirled with brilliant peas, discs of bright carrots, dainty cubes of celery, and chunks of fabulously tender chicken. Culinary art. It was a Rembrandt on a plate. Scowling at her, smiling at me, I lifted a heavy forkful and blew gently to cool it. As my eyes stared beyond the hot, perfumed vapors teasing my nose, I maintained my wicked glare of hardened malice and hate. I struggled. The singular pie smelled so delicious I wanted to scream with joy. I placed it in my mouth and barely maintained my composure. It was everything I had thought it to be. Still, I held fast to my frown, chewing slowly so as to cradle the bouquet of flavors as long as I could. It was the pinnacle of culinary achievement. French kings had never had anything half this good. If God were a chef and Jesus his sous chef, the Holy Father and Son could not so much have even approached it. I wanted to thank her, to spring from my seat and hug her until I cried, to repent before everyone for all the sins I had inflicted upon this perfect human and all the thousands like her. She, this most intelligent, artistic, and talented woman who had never harmed anyone, but had only brought happiness and knowledge wherever she went. This woman, not an animal, as our cruel society deems her, but this woman, the most humane of us all. I ached to put my arms around her and finally look at her as my equal. In doing so, I would not raise her up to anything. No, I would raise myself up, to pull myself from this intellectual grave we have dug, to know Mattie as my equal, my sister, to look at all people as equals, no matter their color, all people as deserving of independence, self-determination, and protection of the law, and all the human rights currently bestowed upon only the very few. To take literally the words of those conflicted cowards, the flawed and weak founding slaveholders of this country, to be the first to liberate herself through liberating others, that all people are created equal and that life, liberty, and happiness can never be achieved for anyone so long as any of us can be owned as chattel. I wanted to confess to it all, to Mattie, to admit she was more intelligent and talented than I, more conversational, more moral, but equally human. I wanted to free her on the spot, compensating her for all her years of service with half my fortune, nay, all my fortune, to announce to all 847 beings held in my captivity that they are free, to admit the Confederacy is a sham, evil perfected, the very antithesis of America, and to admit that every last one of us slaveholders knows it. We have always known it. To reject our tired excuses that owning and destroying others is just our culture, or how we Southerners steeped in tradition, or that the Bible endorses it. To no longer cover it up with lies and euphemisms, but to call it what it is and what we are. That is the wholesale extermination of human beings perpetrated by criminal traitors. We, the most viciously diabolical people to have ever inhabited this continent, to dedicate whatever remains of my life to ridding the world of slavery, to for once in my existence do something I could be proud of, to commit to beneficence, to use my considerable influence to strive for a just society where maiming, rape, and murder are no longer condoned or encouraged, but unthinkable and punishable. To unite the United States by first uniting its people, not slaves and masters, rich and poor, black and white, but people. Oh, God in heaven, my entire life, the entire world, it was all condensed in that beautiful, phenomenal work of art, that chicken pot pie. I swallowed what I knew could be my only bite. Standing, I pushed all dreams of virtue and of following the right path aside. I shouted it was the worst thing I had ever tasted. I demanded Maddie throw it away at once. I slapped her viciously and called her wretched names before Mr. Chesnut pulled me off her and locked me in a closet. Mary Chesnut.